2 in the morning and you're staring at your phone again. You're scrolling through PubMed articles or watching another YouTube video. Or maybe you're joining a Facebook group and you're trying to figure out what is happening to your body. You have a folder full of lab results, screenshots of protocols, and a list of symptoms that seems to change by the day. And despite all the data you gathered, you're feeling completely raw. You're drowning in information, but you have zero direction on what to do next. And I know who you are. You're the medically displaced patient. You don't feel sick enough for emergency room, but you feel way too sick to be told to learn to live with it. Maybe you sat in a clinic after clinic only for a doctor to look at your paperwork, look at their watch, and tell your labs, oh, you're normal. Have you considered that it might just be stress or anxiety or just getting older? And that is the moment of medical dismissal. And I know it's the single most frustrating, exhausting experience in modern medicine. Being minimized, being patronized, being told you're fine when you are intimately aware that your body is ringing alarm bells. And I want to tell you something right now. I want you to hear it clearly. You're not crazy. You're not a hypochondriac. You're not just a too complex or a difficult case. You are just a patient asking really good questions in a really bad system. My name's Dr. West. If you're tired of fragmented medicine, symptom suppression, and crushing exhaustion of starting over with every new doctor, then I made this video just for you. Have you ever sat in your car after a doctor's appointment and just stared at the steering wheel and you're told your labs are normal, you're at stress, here, wait and see, but you know something's wrong. But you know, you're starting to wonder if you're the crazy one. You're not passive, you're not lazy, you don't want a quick fix, and you're not here because you're dramatic. You are intelligent, you've done work, you've read things that most doctors haven't read. You've compared protocols, questioned diagnoses, joined the groups, watched the channels, and you know something is wrong, and you've been told over and over again that you're the problem for insisting on it. Well, here's what I know after 26 years of being in the trenches with patients, that the patients who ask the most questions are the ones most worth listening to. The system labeled you complex, non-compliant, chronic, maybe even quietly between the lines something close to a hypochondriac. But I'll tell you what I see. Someone asking good questions inside of bad systems, that's not the same thing. Now let me name your real enemies, because they're not who you think they are. It's not medicine. It's not science. It's not even the bad doctor. Your enemies are the fragmentation, the dismissal, symptom suppression, and the slow erosion of hope that happens when you've been sick without direction for far too long. You've been seen by 6 or 8 or 15 specialists, and they never talk to each other. Each one owns a piece of you: the kidney, the liver, the muscles, the joint, the brain. And every new appointment means telling your story from scratch or re-justifying symptoms that you've already explained 100 times, and then walking out with another referral instead of an answer. You're not tired of trying. You're tired of starting over. And I understand that. And I want you to know that exhaustion is not weakness. That's what happens when the systems fail intelligent, persistent people. Right now, you're carrying a massive weight, and it's not just your physical symptoms. It's the decision paralysis. You see, every choice feels dangerous. What if I choose the wrong doctor again? What if I've already tried that pathway? What if I start another protocol and I get worse? And you've been disappointed so many times that you're actually lost trust in your own judgment. And you're terrified of making the wrong move, or terrified if you wait too long, you'll miss your window to heal. So you wait, you research, you hesitate, because staying stuck feels safer than risking hope and being wrong again. And here's what research shows us. When doctors dismiss you, it actually makes you sicker. It's called the nocebo effect. A doctor's negative attitude or a lack of belief, it can worsen your pain and health outcomes. And this isn't in your head. This is a measurable physiologic harm, because being dismissed by doctors creates medical trauma that makes you afraid to seek help even when you have serious needs. And the referral merry-go-round, those delays, the diagnosis that takes years while your conditions potentially worsen. And when patients don't feel listened to, the risk of the medical error goes up dramatically because the doctor misses critical information. And you're not imagining this is harm. It's real. It's documented. It's just not working right. And the signals it's sending, the inflammation, the fatigue, cognitive fog, the immune chaos, those are random. They have a source, and that source can be identified and addressed, and in most cases reversed. And I work inside a framework called cellular energy deficiency. When your cells can't produce energy efficiently, everything downstream suffers. Your immune system, your nervous system, your hormones, your gut, your brain. This is why you can have dozens of diagnoses that don't connect, and why treatment, each one of those separately, never fully works. It's not 10 problems. It's one pattern expressing itself in 10 ways. And when we find that pattern, we almost always do, the path forward becomes clear. And I want to ask you something. How long have you been searching? Not just for the answer, but for someone who takes you seriously. Someone who doesn't make you feel like a burden for being complicated. Someone who won't reset the clock every visit. And here's what I've watched happens thousands of times. A patient comes in convinced they're the exception. They're the one case that's too complex to resolve, and they've been burned by false hope before, so they hold something back and they kind of halfway commit. And then they want to believe, but they wait. And then something happens in that first real conversation. They feel seen, not as a file, not as a diagnosis, as a person with a history and a pattern and a path forward. And they exhale for the first time in years. And this is what you deserve. And that is available for you. You don't need more opinions. You need clear steps. And you need confidence that you chose the right doctor, that relief from fear, one roadmap, one philosophy, one leader that you can commit to. You don't want to keep searching. You want to stop hoping and stop hopping from doctors to doctors, and ultimately you want to heal. And then you want to understand your body so that this never blindsides you again. You want to live normally again without scanning your body every morning, without calculating energy before making plans, without fear running in the background. And when someone walks into my clinic, I don't flinch at complexity. I don't dismiss symptoms, because if the labs are in range, it means that there's something else that's off. Is it lymphatic drainage? Is it liver stress, kidney problems, protein utilization, or nervous system tone? Because chronic illness is rarely about one lab value. It's about your systems, and the systems require leadership. So you don't need someone to agree with every theory you've researched. You need someone who can organize the chaos. You're not anti-science, you're anti-fragmentation. And you're not difficult, you're discerning. You're not crazy, you're medically unheard. And the reason you're still searching isn't because you love searching. It's because no one gave you a clear roadmap you can trust. And here's what you deserve from every medical encounter. You deserve to leave an appointment with an understanding and a plan. And if you're unclear or anxious about what happens next, the standard of care have not been met, you deserve a doctor confident enough to say, I don't know what this is, but I believe you. And we'll keep looking rather than blaming you for your lack of answers. You deserve emotional safety, not just the right prescription, but feeling comfortable enough to share your symptoms without fear of judgment. And the moment you find a doctor who listens, the healing process begins. You see, validation itself is a therapeutic tool that improves outcomes. You have the power to walk away, and firing a doctor who dismisses you is often the first step to finding the diagnosis you've been missing. Your body's more adaptable than you've been told. Healing windows are much wider than conventional medicine suggests, and damage is not destiny. But you have to act intentionally, not reactively. And if you're watching this far, you've already known something's shifted. Maybe you can't name it yet, but something you recognize in this, that recognition matters. So you don't dismiss it. That's your judgment working correctly, finally pointed in the right direction. And here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not after one more Google search, is go to medicallyunheard.com. That's where you can request a new patient appointment at the clinic. And we work with patients across the street or across the country, in person and through virtual programs designed specifically for people in your situation. And when you get there, you're going to be asked to tell us a little bit of your story. Tell it. Don't edit yourself. Don't minimize. Don't worry about being too much. That's exactly who we're built for. We look at your full history, your labs, your patterns, and then we give you something that you've never had before. A real roadmap. One doctor, one direction. No more starting over. You've been doing this for long enough. You've been your own researcher, your own advocate, your own skeptic, and that takes courage, serious courage. But you shouldn't have to keep carrying this by yourself. I've spent 26 years building a practice for exactly this kind of patient. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. You matter. Go to medicallyunheard.com and let's figure out what actually is going on. It's time to stop searching, and it's time to stop healing, and I'll see you there.